Hello and welcome to a new episode. So, last week I showed how to handle some high scores by splitting the game in multiple files. So this week I did some other changes, but I also have some questions to answer. So I had some questions about an eventual Steam or Android or good old game publish, which is of course a rhetorical question. It's not like anyone who really want to buy Oric games, but it was interesting in terms of thinking about it. So basically the main problems are non-technical. They are mostly in the domain of copyright. Like for example, this game Encounter is from 1983 or 1984 from a publisher who disappeared in 1984. So what are the rules about copyright? I've been trying to locate the authors, not been successful. I contacted some of the people I knew in the UK video games. Nobody knew about any of these people, despite having been working in Codemasters and Mastertronics and other similar places. And there are things like who owns the ROM, because publishing Encounter will means having an emulator provided with it. And this emulator could be modified to handle things like achievements, maybe using some special memory location. But you will still have to release the game with the ROMs, else it will not run. So who owns the ROM of the BASIC, and who owns the ROMs of the micro disk? What about Oric, the operating system, things like that. And then of course, if you can do all that, there is a question of entering the shop itself. Things like Steam Greenlight has disappeared, it's been replaced by something else. And assuming you can do all that, then there is a good old problem of splitting the income. What do you do with these 20 euros you manage to get from people who mysteriously buy the game, not knowing what it was? So yeah, that will be the funny part. Then there were the question I asked about the please insert master disk, which has been solved. So I was on the right track, but I did a mistake when trying to apply the patches. Thanks to ISS and Simon, that's been solved. So this version of the game I'm going to show today is actually running with a patched version of tap2dsk, which automatically loads the correct bank without asking you about it, if it can find it on disk. Then there were all these questions about base2tape. Is it possible to actually automatically generate all this optimization, like hexadecimal code instead of decimal, removing automatically all the things like comments, because they take some room. So yeah, it's definitely doable, but that will require a lot of work, and that will probably be a major rewrite of the tool. Then there are a question from Laurent Day, who asked the point of making videos, because he was more like a reader person, on that it was not practical to see that on video. When all these videos are done for the game, I'm planning to do a recapitulative article on the OSDK website, with a shortcut with only the most important part, with of course all the videos embedded, and with a link to the final version of the game. So that should be able to solve most of the issues. So you get best of both worlds, you get a write-up with all the important part, plus a video about it. So, what I did since last time was I worked more on the scoring system, because last time all we had was a display of some static high scores, these ones. Well, it's nice to know that Inspector Clouseau has minus 250, but it would be nice if we could insert our own scores. So this is what I did. And I also did some graphics change. I'm going to show that first. So I fixed some more pictures. It's still not final, but I should give something better. So instead of some generic apple trees, now we have something that matches the rest of the world. So if you go west, you got the tile patio. If you go south, you go to the vegetable plot, which you probably notice is a shamelessly modified version of the tennis court. It's going to be modified as well, but it was a good base. And you can see the two small trees in the back, just to give a sense of perspective. So the ornate base room moved from that to this. I kept some of the display information, even the towel. This looks a little bit more like the head of a dead animal than a tap, so probably will have to be fixed, but yeah, that's better than this mess of pixel. The child bedroom is also a shamelessly modified version of the box room. I mirrored it, moved that from top to bottom, and added the doors there. And then the main change, yeah, so lawn tennis court, I finished the wall here because it was kind of ugly. Now it looks a little bit more like what it should be. But the biggest change is that because basically you were arriving on the grass on north, immediately you were on the dog. So now you see that you are entering some kind of mansion house. I will have to add some more details here, and you see that if you go east, you see the greenhouse. And I added a small detail of the small apple trees there. Same thing with the wide gravel drive. Instead of the generic picture, now it's the other mansion zoomed out. You can see the greenhouse. This reminds of the original road to access, and you can see a hint of a road here. I will have to draw something there to go to the not the garden, it's yeah, the forest, which is not really a forest, more like a couple of trees. On slightly updated the main street, but it's still kind of ugly, but less ugly than that, and you see the house there. So that should give the player a little bit more ideas about the sense of direction. Then there is code change. So in the demo it's not much. Basically I added 2 victory conditions, or ending conditions. Simply vanished is the one which appears if I miss something in the code. It's a default initialization to 8. And gave up is when the player uses the quit instruction. And I added an additional POC to force correctly the the paper to black when loading the main game. Because last time there was some ugly yellow strike. And then majority of the change is in the main game. So what did I change? Here we have the new EC, which is end condition, which, as I said, is initialized to 8, which means, yeah, it gave up, vanished without traces. I modified this sentence because it was too long. Now it fits in less than 40 characters, because that one was corrupting the screen. Then I actually worked on the scoring system by alternating the way, I changed the way the alarm on the move is displayed. So all that is gone. Added some color change, found out that killing the dog with a knife did not increment the high score counter, whereas people from PETA will disagree, but yeah, so you get 50 points, at least consistent, because if you kill the dog with the billiard cue, you will have the points, but not with a knife, which I assume is a bug. Should be either or, but yeah. Still fix on the alarm system. I removed the OK, which was just making things scroll way too fast for no reason. Remove some of the prints, which also made things scroll. And I added some ending conditions. So 2 for the dog, 3 for the dog, 7 for the explosion, not able to complete is 9. Run out of time is 6. So that's all the things we had there. And yeah, you made it. Condition 1, fail to silence the alarm. Condition 5, I removed this. It's just taking room for no reason. Now the game just automatically cycled to the demo part. I increased, so I turned back what I had done for the editing from 4 lines to 6 lines. The alarm is displayed at the bottom right. This is just an alternate way of displaying the input box. This is to avoid doing backspace on an empty string. That was displaying some error. And finally, this is the high score handling. So here we have go to 5500, which is here. So what it does, it's similar to what we had here, loading the scores. It loads the scores and iterating on all the entries, extract the value of the scores and compare the scores to the actual score of the player. If the found score is lower, then we jump here, else we continue iterating, and if we did not find any score which is lower, we go back to the demo. On the other hand, if we found a score which is lower, what we do is we do a sort without sorting. Basically, the whole point of having this list here in order of scores is that it's already sorted. So if you do the things correctly, you don't have to run the sort anymore. You just need to insert your new line somewhere and move down the rest, which is what happens here. So AD contains the current position we were looking at, and we move it by 1 entry. And then in the current entry, we poke doc, our score, the ending condition that we've been adding everywhere, and we poke. We ask the player his name, put some space to tabulate to make sure that it fits nicely, and we poke back the score in memory, and we save back the table, and we load the demo. So this is what that looks like in the game. So encounter, Severn Software, Redux Edition, Defense Force, display the leaderboard. So as you can see here, I'm freezing it with the mouse. We basically have the default table. So Inspector Clouseau minus 250 points. Trip the alarm. So how to play did not change. And it's showing the intro. Press space, loading, and we are back in business. So as you can see here, we have 6 lines instead of 4. And here, instead of having move 0, we have move 500. The rationale here is that instead of having the user manual tell you have 500 moves, it's easier to understand when you display 500 and go 499, 498. You generally assume that when you reach 0, something bad happens. So, can't see nothing of interest. Get keys. So you can see the house out there. You can still see the house. Now, east. Get the knife. Could take the ladder, but I don't need it. West. Above is a barred window. I can see nothing of interest. South. West. So I'm going to take the snooker cue to break the window, which will trigger the alarm. The cue smashes the window, alarm is ringing. So I will have to add some temporization so people can read the text, but basically now we have alarm 20, which is displayed. The back of the screen is turned red, so if the player is not totally stupid, they should understand that they have to do something. So we will have to disable the alarm, and this is a spoiler, so just so you know. So we are in the kitchen, we go down, 17 mouths, go down, everything goes south. I can see a locked panel on the wall, 38 bullets. Get bullets, because I'm not in a hurry. Use keys. I see a lot of lights on the red button. Press button. Ping, alarm stopped ringing, and the alarm message disappears. And doing that gave me some points. What are you going to do now? Well, I have some stuff to do. Up. Up again. Okay, let's take the matches. West. South. East. Get tape. Get book. Read book. So that one say I should not bother. It's one of the things I'm going to change at some point to actually show the chemistry recipes, so the player knows how to solve the game even if they don't know anything about saltpeter and bombs, something like that. Now, of course, I may be banned by the TSA for traveling because I'm explaining how to do a bomb in a video game. Yeah, we'll see. South, and the dog is growling at me. So, two possibilities: either I let it kill me, or nah. Oh, the dog is dead. Up. Up. East. So now you can see the new bathroom. And the new child's bedroom. Still no visible thug, but so I'm going to attack it and I'm going to fail on purpose so I get killed, so we can enter our hopefully high score. Hit, tug. Kill, tug. Hit, fist. You managed to wake him, he's not happy, you've been killed by the tug. Game score 58 points. Yay! New high score. Your name, please. So, loser. Yeah. So, show the intro, and hopefully we will see ourselves in the scores. Yes, and we can see with 58 points shot by a tug, sore loser. And now the last one is Auguste Dupin, which means that Inspector Clouseau is gone. So now the question is, would it still work if I do something else? Like, let's say I want to do quit. Yes. -512, it did not ask me to enter a score. I'm going to get killed by the dog. Ah, I got you. -30, so I should be in the high scores. Yes, so how could you call somebody who gets killed by a dog? Oh. Catwoman. Hopefully Catwoman is going to be visible in the high scores. Yes, so we have sore loser with 58 points, Joe Hardy with 50, Frank Hardy with 0, and Catwoman with -30, mained by a dog. So that seems to be working quite fine. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do for next. There is a bunch of bugs in the game. So we probably have to review a bunch of things. Shut up. One of the things I definitely need to do is to finish the graphics, like the garden, the dining room, the lounge. Basically, get rid of all the generated graphics. To get something which is purely. Then I will have to add some victory condition. I don't think the player should have to type quit to quit the pit when he falls down. The game should detect that. If you're in the pit and you don't have a rope and you don't have a ladder or something like that, it should automatically declare that you have lost. But yes, that's mostly it. And of course there is adding all the sounds. We'll have to see if I can do something about it. But I'm reserving that for the end part of the project because it takes a lot of room. And I don't want to lose the possibility to have some actual gameplay features just for having sound. My sound designer at work would probably disagree. Sound is the most important thing in the whole universe. But yeah, so that's it for today. Hopefully that was interesting. And as usual, it's going to be on the SVN server, so just check the code if you want. Just knowing that if you use the current SDK version, it's going to ask you to insert the master disk, because I've not published the version yet. So, yep, have fun and see you next time. Bye!